Well, hey, it's we're live, so it's looking good. It's Saturday night. It's 9 p.m. over here in the old country, so that must mean that it's time for the War Room, brought to you in glorious 720p. And I'm joined, as usual, by these two ne'er-do-wells, ID Jester and Nate. So we'll say hello to those, and then we'll have a chat to everybody in the chat. And let me just get those up so I can be ready for that. How you doing, you two? Jester.
I am ready to rock and roll. My blood pressure is through the roof. Not for this show, though. Not for this show. This is not on this show. Yeah, I'm prepping a video, which most of you know. And the other thing is, it makes me very disappointed. I am very disappointed in our crew right now because there is, according to my screen, there is 35 people watching right now, and not a single like. Yeah. What are you people doing? Do we have to train you every week? Come on.
No, I think it's still broken, to be honest. If you could test it for me, because I need all the help I can get with my little channel. So that would be wonderful if you could push the like button just to see if it's working.
Well, plus it is your show.
He's in rant mood already. I was dreading this. Nate, how are you, my friend? Have you calmer than him?
I'm calm as can be, but I'm ready to go to listen to hear Jester's story.
Will this be your first live rant as a host? Has he done it sitting in that chair? Is it the first one?
I think so. I think it is.
Yeah,
I'm not going to rant during this show.
All right, that's
it doesn't have anything to do with this show or you guys or anything like that.
I'd love to have a little.
It doesn't have anything to do with the fact that GMT keeps sending me 2 copies of every game for some reason.
They just that much more.
It has to do for you guys that have been keeping track. Almost 5 years ago, I pre-ordered something and backed something on Kickstarter, and I've got an email that it's about due. So it should be here in the next week or so. So I'm getting my screenshots of everything that had happened along the way, along this journey, to prove to everyone out there you should not be kickstarting.
No, and he set the cameras up at the back of his room to video it when it hits the back wall there. So anyway,
you see this right here?
Well, he's going to have the door open
because I don't want the game hitting the wall like it did last time. So I put this there just in case.
Oh, great.
Is there? Let me ask this: is there a pile back there where like the Stukas are back there, and any other game, they just pile up back there? And
he's trying to still sell them. But Nate, let's put these good peeps in the chat out of their misery, because you chose the subject and it's had quite a lot of good feedback. So explain to the good ladies and gentlemen of the chat.
Yeah, I was excited to talk about this topic because the topic for today is what kind of the games that you've played, what kind of sort of a narrative that was produced in the game, and which one did you think of the games that you've played, which one produced the best narrative? And I'm really looking towards to see also not only just what games and what kind of stories that you had from games, but also how is it that those stories developed? Was it the game mechanics that encouraged that development of the story, or was it necessarily your actions as a player? So we could talk about like solitaire games or just regular 2-player or multiplayer games. Because I know solitaire games, a lot of the narrative is driven by just what you roll on tables and things like that. So I'm curious to see what stories people have and how we made them as gamers.
Exciting, yes, and we've all got stories to tell, and we'll look forward to that. But I'm just going to say hello to everybody. He was very early, and he was excited.
Oh,
so hello there, Christoph. I know it's all around the world. We are honoured with our. We've got the best
good afternoon,
chat.
good evening, and good night. Who used to say that?
Yeah,
I do have. When we talk about gaming stories, I do have a story for our friend from Belgium.
Right.
Some good news as well.
But I must say, we have the best chat of all vlogs and things going on the internet. We're honoured. They're the best audience. Marty,
who used to say that though? Good evening, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Was that Johnny Letterman or Tom? What Johnny Letterman? Whatever the hell. Dave Letterman.
Johnny
Carson.
It was an old timer. I think. Who's the guy? Dave Letterman and the other guy. Who is the
Johnny Carson?
Johnny Carson. There you go.
Right, happy now? Right, thank you. Walden's not too far from me. That's sort of North Essex, I think. So,
is that near Birmingham?
No, it's not near Birmingham. No, it's in my. I think it's in my county, Malden. Yes, it is North Essex. We got David Milton Keynes. That's a little bit further. That's getting nearer to Birmingham.
That's in the Midlands, right?
And that's nowhere near Birmingham.
Oh no, that's a good one. Sweden.
Yeah. Oh, Brisbane.
Yeah, so it's chilly because they're coming into mind you. They're coming into their winter now, aren't they? Because they're an upside downy world.
I just love that we can have people from all across the world.
Great? Isn't it great? Jackson, Michigan. That's your part of the world, of course. And Thomas, of course, is from Michigan. And I'm sorry, you say Birmingham, I say Michigan. All right,
Michigan.
Michigan. Wow.
So I'll get my own back. So how you doing, Thomas? Prague. Look at this. They are everywhere. Brilliant. And as you quite rightly said there, Nate, there's Christoph from Belgium. Partly cloudy. Yes, it's been nice here, but you can see I'm wearing a cardi and cardigan because it still gets a bit chilly at night.
It's cold here.
Philly.
Huh?
Philly. US, you go, US.
Yeah. Charles.
Right.
And we got Welsh Wales.
Aha.
There's Rob. Hi all, says Edward.
Oh, hot and humid.
Is it hot and sticky there, is it?
Yeah, it's starting to
get
hot.
Know. It's hot down here, Ruff. If you want hot, come on down. Come visit.
Yeah, oh dear, yeah. Old Savannah, Georgia. Or Georgia.
Lovely place.
I don't think anybody ever says Georgia.
I know. I'm just trying to wind you. I tell you what, because we've got a bit of heat now, we're getting all these fruit flies. These whose name I've not forgotten since university. But when we used to take their salivary glands out, they're only very small, but they got the biggest chromosomes of most things. So you can take their salivary gland out and get their DNA out. Drosophila melanogaster. There we are.
Oh,
that's the name of the fruit fly. Koi, with his West Ham football, or as two countries in the world say it, soccer. There's only two countries in the world. I think it's Australia and you lot. San Diego from Charles is there. There he is.
What's going on, Mikey?
Thank you for that. If you haven't battered it already, within an inch of its life, please tickle that like button.
Which people were saying that there were likes on there. Jester just hadn't refreshed his
screen. Yeah. Detroit.
Lying. They're lying. They're lying. Don't listen to them, Nate. They're lying. They're all trying to now backtrail. That's what they're trying to do.
Hundreds of people. Simon.
Hundreds of people.
Well, I'm just being nice. There. Thank you, Jem. Cut off. Thank you very much.
So I know I don't do a lot of war games on my channel because I do a lot of other things. But for you war gamers out there, I want to show you something. I'm going to show you. Look at this.
You got to refresh this.
Oh my gosh!
Look at that!
Wow. He's got Arcanon. That's a great game.
Let me write down the date. Make sure on May 18th.
Hey, I've got that. At least I've got the box out and I've got the map out. I mean, that's a lot farther than this game has ever seen.
Maybe if you get the Boog River one, you can go play with Kevin Moe since they enjoyed that one so much. You remember that?
4 hours. Yeah,
yes, I heard all about that.
Oh boy, yeah. People, Attila or Attila.
And the correct pronunciation is
Attila.
That's how we say it over here.
Mm-hmm.
So you've learned something at least.
Attila the Hun? Yeah.
Attila the Hun, yep. Some people say Attila, and I'm like,
Do they really? Ooh.
Oh, yeah. I've even heard some historians use it, and
Yeah, some people say Birmingham, and that gets me, oh dear.
Some people say Algiers and Algeria, but...
Well, I think they don't know which one's which. They're kicked them all right.
I think if we took a poll, Algiers and Algeria, which is the country, I bet you half the people in the U.S. would fail that.
I don't know. Quite a lot. I don't know.
There's
Thank you, Jim Cutter.
America.
I'm gonna walk around my office. I want to record this, and I'm gonna walk up to my coworkers and say, "Algiers, Algeria. Which one of those is a country?" And see what they have to say.
Yes.
Not a lot of Americans know geography anyway. They don't.
I think it's only something silly like 40% of Americans have passports.
Right.
Because your place is so huge, you can go everywhere and get everything, So I envy you that. Gareth, he was my at PunchCon.
Oh, yeah. I remember him.
He was my buddy for that week. It was brilliant. Yeah,
Brum. Some Panzer Grenadier.
And we were playing a little bit of Panzer. Brum, that's the sort of nickname, if you like, for Birmingham.
Your southern accent is not there. Quite there yet.
But not trashy. I've got to do trashy enough. I don't know. Sorry, I'm just trying to see who's got there. Oh,
you just
enigmatic. Greetings from Washington. How you doing?
I like at the last comment, Paul. God invented war to teach Americans geography.
Yes. Well, that's never a truer word said in jest. Grantham, that's Lincolnshire.
Yes, Lancashire.
I thought it was Lancashire.
That's where Margaret Thatcher came from.
Lancashire is the big.
Magnus.
It's the big place where the hobbits live, right? Lancashire.
No, the hobbits live in New Zealand.
I'm just seeing if there's anybody else we haven't said hello to. I think we've got everybody. Good grief,
man! Lots of people out.
We've got 54 people watching us. It's amazing.
They're all excited to tell us their gaming stories.
Well, this is it. We're going to get onto that later. Yeah,
I think they are excited about it. I think they're all excited about my new segment, which is called. We can't remember what the name of it is.
No, we can't remember what it's
called. If you guys remember what was suggested last week, let us know in the chat down below. But so we're doing our history top 500 war games of all time. And last week we did 500 to 491. This week we'll do 490 to 481. Yeah. So we're counting 10 games and it's good to look back at these games. I'm telling you, I told these guys in the green room before we started, like after the show, I was like interested in a couple of these games that I talked about. Oh
no, you haven't been putting stuff into shopping.
I got them on order at
No. But what you were saying was interesting too, is that it's now, because it's a living sort of dynamic sort of list, things are going up and down. So it'd be interesting to see how low they drop. And they've come down or they've gone up. So that'd be interesting as well.
Mike, I don't know if that was the name, but that is quite funny. Jester's Game Junket.
No,
that's gone quiet. No,
No, it's the living history of the board game from 500 down to number 1. And we've already had some movers and shakers. So you're going to see on this list today a game that was on the list last week because it moved up. So it's gonna come all the way up to number 1 with us as we go through this list.
Was it that one? I don't remember.
Was it Jester? Yes, Jester Day. It might have been.
It was Jester Day. I think it was.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think somebody mentioned that. Yes.
Jester shopping list. There we go. We just call it that.
Right. I'll tell you what. I'm going to start it off this week because I'm a little miffed about one certain game, but I brought some prezzies home from PunchCon, one of which was this.
English Civil War.
English Civil War, solo game, Worthington Publishing. I enjoyed the Malta Besieged one. It's that sort of thing. It's a States of Siege game. Very hard to win, evidently. So,
are you the Royalists or the Parliamentarians?
You're the Parliamentarians.
Okay. Do you get beheaded like Cromwell at the end?
Well, actually, as he says on there, that Oliver Cromwell remarked that the beheading of King Charles was a cruel necessity.
Oh, a necessity. Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. They dug him up again, didn't they, Oliver Cromwell? And
chopped his head off
and stuck his head on a pike.
Right.
And then...
Well, I can't remember what happened to the head.
I think it just stayed there till it actually went. I think somebody stole it.
Oh, okay.
Right. And I got this. You know, I'm not a great expert on the Napoleonic Wars, but this company, which is owned by Andrew Rourke, is a UK company. Isn't that brilliant? It's made in the UK. Look, made in the UK, not in that big country that begins with a C.
Form Square Games.
Yeah, Form Square Games. I walked up. They were at PunchCon. He was at PunchCon. And I walked up and I was quite flattered because he went, are you a rough swordsman? You are, aren't you? And I said, yeah. Why? Have you got a daughter? And he said, yeah. So I was talking to him about it. I said, I'm not, not an aficionado because I don't know much about it. And but it looks, the map is going to cause a few comments, I dare say. Look at that.
I do like the map.
I do. In a strange, it's different. So he said, would you like to take a copy? And I said, go on then. And so I'll try. I'm in the process of doing unboxing for it.
Yeah. And, if you give it a playthrough, let us know. I'm
hopefully a playthrough as well if I get the time. So that was that. And the other thing I got was that Storm of Steel, another solitaire game. As I say, I'm a bit miffed. There's cards in here and they were sealed. And on the back of the box, it says 16 aircraft cards and 24 event cards. When I counted them, there were 14 aircraft cards and 21 event cards. So I was a little bit like, shut that front door. So I contacted... and this was like 7 o'clock in the evening. I just sent a message to Second Chance, who I bought it off of that PunchCon. Got back to me straight away and said, do you know what's missing? What's this? I said, no, I've watched some unboxings, but didn't show the cards very well. And there was a bit of a gap. And he got back and said, yeah, Compass will send you a replacement when they send us their next consignment of games. So I thought, okay.
When they feel like they can ship it out to everyone for cheap. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pack of cards, it's only 30 odd cards. I would stick it in an envelope, send it to me, you rotters, so I can play the game. To be fair, Second Chance games were on top. They did what they could and I loved them for that. But yeah, I don't know how long I'm going to wait until they turn up because it looks really good. It looks really good. So that was my little stuff I got from.
I like I couldn't think of it until Stuka put it in the chat. The artwork for the front of the box and then the map on the back looks like the old political cartoon.
Yes, Punch. It's Punch. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's sort of instantly recognizable. Punch was still going until quite recently. It's yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So I'm actually looking forward to it because it's supposed to be everybody tells me it's very different type of game.
Is it card driven?
No.
Oh,
I don't think so. It's got blocks in it, and you can sort of hide things. Yeah, 4 counter sheets. And it's got a 40-page rule book. And you think, oh my God. But it's quite big font. They're doing a lock and load on it with lots of pictures and things, So
lock and load, right?
So, and that's what I've been doing.
Everyone drink up.
Oh, sorry. Yes, lock and load. Cheers. I've been doing a lot of unboxings then to try and catch up with all the stuff I've got, with the Washington's War and For the People and all that. Hoping to get them out of the way. So next week I'll concentrate on doing a bloody game. Excuse my French.
Did you finagle a couple games for me and Nate from VUCA?
Yeah. Yeah, did we say
that was the goal last week, to have you on the show, was for you to...
Don't you worry. They'll see it's all right. It was really great to meet the guys at VUCA.
It was.
It was great. And Eve as well, the designer of Red Strike. What a nice chap. They all are. And we were playing their new the new Cold War, 1989 to 2015 it covers. And that was good fun. Eve taught me a little bit about Red Stripe. We played a little bit of that.
Just a little bit that we got to, because your camera thing wasn't working right and everything, the internet and the noise, but just a little bit that we got to talk with them. They seemed really nice, really, really nice.
Yeah, they've been on the show a couple of times. I dare say they'll be on again, and you can sort of meet them. But it was nice to actually meet them. But there was one Friday night, because you're there to sell your games, aren't you? And
that's what they're there for.
Yeah, Friday night they disappeared, and Saturday morning came. You think that's the big day, because people who aren't staying the whole time come for Saturday. And God, it's Drosophila melanogastas are attacking me. They didn't show up. It was about 2:00 in the afternoon when Patrick finally reared his head. They've been out on the old on the lash, as we say over here. Been out on the lash. Eves went with them, but left them at midnight. They carried on clubbing it till 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm supposed to be here selling your wares. No, we're only young once. So I thought, you gits. So that was quite funny.
They're young kids. They got to go have a good time.
Yeah, they're over here. Yeah, on the lash, And but I did talk about the Traces of War, Traces of Hubris. I did have a moan, only because it's a 2-mapper. They're like the great games, 2-mapper. So it's awkward for me to do. But he said, don't worry, Ruff. He said the next one is a single mapper, as is the one afterwards.
So I have a question about those games, because I've toyed with getting them, and the reason I haven't got them yet is I don't see any, or at least maybe I may have not looking in the right place. I don't see any air counters, any treatment of the air war in Russia.
I think it's more of sort of abstracty. If I remember rightly, I can get a copy down for you because I do have them. But I think it's an
rub it in.
Yeah. No, I'm honoured. I'm honoured, and they said they were pleased, because everybody wins, sort of thing. Yeah. They send them out to 1812. I think everybody in his dog got one, because it's their brand. Oh, also, if you're interested in that 1812 Napoleon's Fateful March, which is not a solo game because there's like shields, it's like old screens and things where you put your commands because they're hidden behind there. You've got blocks for that. And a guy wandered up when we were playing this new Cold War, and he said, "Hello, I'm so and so." And introduced himself to Patrick. He said, "I'm writing the new one in the series. They're making a series of this Napoleonic thing. I don't know if it's 1814 or whatever it is. He's writing it designing it in conjunction with Brian Askleff. So that was interesting.
I really like the artwork in that 1812. It looked real. I like, especially like the counters, like the soldier. There's one side, and then there's the other side. There,
and they're frozen. Yeah. Where they're marching through the snow. So interested in that. I think the Traces one, I think there's going to be a North Africa or just a little bit maybe.
Okay.
I can't remember if it was Tobruk or something. I'm not sure. But
did you ever ask them about?
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Well, he's still here, technically.
No, he's still here. He hasn't done a Jester, as we now call it. Yeah.
Have they, did you ever ask about, I remember one time when you all had them on here and I wasn't on here, that they mentioned they're doing a Mediterranean game about like Malta and did you ever ask about that?
No, I don't know if that's part of the Traces or it's a completely different game. They're bringing out games. There was an old, I think they like to sort of revamp old games as well.
Yeah.
And there was I think it's an older game. It was another Russian game, but that was on the table being play tested.
There is one on their website that says it's under development. It's an old game. It used to be, I think, an S&T game called The Far Seas, and it's about the German crew.
Oh, yeah. They were playing that as well. That's virtually ready to go. Somebody was playing that, the prototype. It's a 2-player game, but yes, that's virtually there. So that will be out pretty soon. The Red Strike one, you're going to have, the first one's going to be Northern Strikes, talking to Eves. And as he mentioned, I know I'll reiterate in case people missed it, is going to be Northern Strike, which is like Norway and all that sort of thing. And then they're going to bring out the Falklands, which will be interesting. Tony
Sheep
be interested in that. Huh?
And what's this game that he's going to be doing with
Sheep Strike? Yeah.
Mark Herman.
And then they're bringing out, because it's a homage to Gulf Strike, hence Red Strike, it's a homage to Mark Herman's Gulf Strike. They're now going to bring out a new Gulf Strike, and he's designing that, Eves is, with Mark Herman. And Mark Herman was supposed to turn up at PunchCon to announce that, but I beat him to it. So, because he couldn't, I think his wife was poorly, so he couldn't make it. But we broke that last week on the channel, on the War Room. So
there's a lot of news made on this show.
Premiere.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do a lot of that. Yeah, it's because they're Europeans, Christoph. You should be okay with that. 22 by 34 inch isn't known over there. So they have to turn it into millipedes, or whatever they call them. Centipedes and millipedes, yeah. I'm only joking. Oh. Which ones? Yeah, it depends. Yes, you're quite right, I think.
I haven't yet. I've not organized Knock Paris yet. I just have the counters out.
That's not going to go back in the box in a tray. You're not going to get that in because it's huge. Yeah, I know they're terrible, and they turn up like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, where am I? What day is it?
Speaking of Mike Butter Jelly,
yes,
this is the first time we actually got together. He was talking and making some, some stuff for us when I was gone and then you were gone and whatever. But I guess the reason I had to go offline for a second was because I was checking with Mike to find out what I'm allowed to say, because I don't want to say anything I'm not allowed to say. But he does say that Wolfpack, you might have heard of this game, should be ready to print at the end of the week, he says. So I think their production is done on it now, and it's ready to be shipped out to go get to the printers, and it's got to be like 3 or 4 months for that.
So that would be
to print it and then ship it back, and then it should be here. So
should be here by before Christmas, anyway.
It might be, which I thought originally Mike was thinking early 2025, but I think maybe they're going to move it up because it's been so popular. So that's good for Mike.
Cool.
Congrats, Mike.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
And we've talked to him last week about having Nate and his buddy getting with Mike and doing like a prototype.
I'm hopeful, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I just started. So for me, picked up my PhD again. Because I had to take a little break after.
Oh, here we go again, Ruff. Oh, let's just start the look right now. Here we go.
Bless my heart.
Hold on, let me get it out the case. Here we go. Ready? Hold on. Well, smallest violin. Right.
I'm on the last little bit right before my dissertation, and I'm in what's called a composition class, where each week I have to look at between 12 and 15 different sources. and then do like a whole big deep dive into each source and what the argument is and everything that's in there. So it's a lot of work. But if I don't do this, then I can't finish my PhD, and I want to. It should be done by this time.
Get it out the way. Get it out the blooming way
next year. All right.
Yep.
There you go.
I'd have to call you Dr. Nate then.
That's right.
And it was his birthday last week as we missed out on him.
Yeah.
So
right.
Everyone wish Nate happy birthday.
Yeah.
He's like, what, 12, 13 now? What are you?
I'm halfway to 70.
35.
35.
That's yeah, okay. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, me and Ruff are on the other half.
Well, the other half of that, yeah. Yeah, there we go. Look, see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well,
I would say
play games, be on this show. Whew, but we're gonna try to get it all done.
I will say this. I can't say anything more than this. All I can say is there's going to be more news about Mike Butter Jelly coming out soon. I'm not going to be able to break it. It'll come out when it comes out, but there'll be news coming out sometime soon.
I've got the hump with you, Mike. You normally tell me all your secrets.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Nordic, for the happy birthday. I appreciate it.
No, it was cool. It's cool. Yeah. I'm a bit miffed again, as we say over here. A bit miffed that I wasn't brought into Mike's confidence.
Well, you weren't around. You were busy playing with the VUCA guys. So.
Oh, right. It was then. Okay. Fair enough then. Yeah. I tell you what, that was a great time. And they're thinking of doing 2. I'm not sure if I would enjoy 2 as much as looking forward to 1 a year, maybe. I don't know.
So now that you're back, last week we talked about is cons good for wargaming? We talked about the pros and the cons, both sides. Now that you're back, what do you think?
I loved it. For me, personally, it was, as you say, I haven't played so many war games, or games even. For me, it's great. I didn't play a lot. Some people were playing tons, and some guy was walking around with a pencil and pad, making a note of all the games and putting them on board BGG. So we've got a list of all the games, 100 and something games.
Wow.
120, 130 different games were played over those days.
And that's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday con, right?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, they were being a bit cheeky. They were playing Thursday night.
I got to hand it to you guys. I mean, I really do. I love my Buckeye Game Fest. It is, for me, obviously being from there, it was my favorite. Growing up, it was my thing. But to be honest, your con made our war room look like the slums. And it's kind of embarrassing at this point.
I tell you what, because I had a comment, Dangerous Dave commented, he said, I think I've overdone it with the, he said, when you were walking around last week, it looked really posh and everything. But it's not. It's a big hotel. It's got a big sort of banqueting room, which is what we use for it. It looks posh with all the chandeliers, but you're seeing it through the old rosy tinted glasses of the internet. It's a little bit tired, the hotel. It's great. It's clean. It's a little bit tired. The food is pretty basic, but there's lots of it.
Ruff, look what Mike just said.
Oh, play domain. I think we're supposed to be playing what do we call it? Hexplore it. But yeah, okay.
He was playing the Hex Explorer, and he he was hoping to hook up and play. Yeah, we'll try and do that. So it's a little bit tired, that the hotel needs it looked good in the 80s maybe, so but yeah, it's a great I thoroughly enjoyed it. Dangerous Dave played loads of games one after the other. I played my games, but I was enjoying chatting to VUCA, chatting to the people there, networking, as they say, the youngsters say, and looking at what people were playing and chatting to them. I enjoyed that as well as playing the games, And Gareth was great. He put up with me. He went off and played Plum Island with the boys from Second Chance Games. So I had to wander up. I went, oh, yes, Plum Island.
played that with the designer, Herman. Yeah. I went, did you? I said, oh, yes. World premiere. Anyway.
I don't know if you caught this when we talked about it, but I did get to sit down and hang out with the Players Aid and talk with them and, let them know, hey,
are they going to come
around? Come on to the show. You're always invited. Email. You got my email. Send it to me. And they told me, oh, yeah. We'll get with you.
I used to live not far from them in the same state.
In Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Used to live there for almost 30 years.
I will mention you guys on the show this week. Your last week's topic, and Moe's Whiskey Charlie also mentioned you some weeks ago.
There we go.
Wow. Cool. That was nice of them. We mentioned them also. So
we mention all the time.
It's reciprocal. We love Artie. I actually was standing side by side with Art Wolf for 3 of the 4 days and talking with him, and I could give you stories, but I'm not gonna spoil things. I mean, whatever he wants to share, he can share. But they were having a great time playing that monster game, whenever it was going.
Look at that.
Now, hold on. Gareth Nelly brought that, and I said, why didn't you bring that? Because Mike Butler Jelly loves it as well. I can't get a copy over here at the moment. But yeah, he's going to bring that next year.
If you want my copy, you can have it.
No, do you like it?
No, I don't like it.
Not for everybody. It's a bit down, but
I play games to have fun.
Yeah,
and this game is not fun.
I know. That's why I want to play it, to see what I think of it. To see how
it's great. It's a great design, and if you like the survival, I love survival. I like Dead of Winter. I love Arkham Horror. I love the survival stuff. It's just that game is not for me. Survival. It's not.
Well, I like.
Sorry, Jessica.
Yeah.
Hi, David.
Cool.
That's cool.
David, I'm in Tampa. Well, south of Tampa. I'm Bradenton. If you know where Bradenton is, David, get with me. Maybe we can hook up sometime and play.
Yeah, he's got no friends. I
need somebody. No, I was just talking about this the other day during my live stream. That literally I am, I had done the digital stuff and then I'm doing all the board games. I'm now converting back and doing more digitally. So.
Well, my friend from the board game bunker, Ryan, we were actually texting a little bit earlier today that sometime in the near future we're going to be playing War of the Ring soon, and I have not played that game.
They were playing that at PunchCon,
first or second edition.
Second edition. The last time he played it was the first edition, so this will be interesting for him as well. But I've never played it. It looked really neat, though.
Just so you know, it is the #1 war game of all time.
Well, I'm sure eventually we will get there.
Good segue there, Nate.
Talking of which, shall we do one of our segments now?
Sure.
I think we should have been on for 40 minutes. We've just been flapping the guns.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
We're having fun.
Yeah, having fun, and we've got 56 people still in the chat. So thank you for staying with us. That's brilliant.
I think that because we didn't get Rough Remembers last week, that we should get it.
Get it out of the way, yeah?
Sure, yeah. Get it done or with. Never to see it again.
I know. If Thomas is still in the chat, we've got a few aircraft stuff this week.
Is there a little pixelated thing there?
I've got the pixelated things ready, so we're okay. But it starts off in 1756. The 7 Years' War began when Britain declared war on France.
Today.
There's a surprise.
Sweet Jesus, here we go again.
And 1775, something happened. If I asked you guys, what is the most famous and used name for American ships, military ships? What do you think?
Like the class? Or are you talking about
the name?
Like the name of the ship? Enterprise.
Enterprise. Funny you should say that, because in 1775, today, everybody's favorite, we love him, Colonel Benedict Arnold, when he was on your side, captured a British sloop at St. John's in Quebec, Canada, and he renames her Enterprise. It's the first time a ship was named Enterprise, and it was the first of many famous ships and spaceships. So there we are. I thought that was a great sort of thing that happened today. And then in 1803, bored with nobody to fight for almost a year, Britain abandons the Treaty of Amiens
and declares war on this year
again. We declared we were getting bored. So there we go.
Which country did you declare war on?
France. It's always France.
Oh, this is twice today. All right.
Yeah. 1804, that Frenchman Napoleon Bonaparte is proclaimed Emperor of the French by the French Senate. And now we're over to your part of the world. 1863, American Civil War. Union forces under Ulysses S. Grant begin the siege of Vicksburg during the Vicksburg campaign in order to take full control of the Mississippi River. So this siege started today and ended on July the 4th, 1863. Was the final major military action in the Vicksburg campaign of the American Civil War. In a series of maneuvers, Union Major General Ulysses S. Grant and his Army of the Tennessee crossed the Mississippi River and drove the Confederate Army of Mississippi, led by, I'll use your term, Lieutenant General John C. Pemberton, into the defensive lines surrounding the fortress city of Vicksburg, Mississippi, leading to the successful siege and Confederate surrender. And then we whiz forward to 1917, World War I. The Selective Service Act of 1917 is passed, giving the President of the United States the power of conscription. Better late than never, eh? Oh, just joking. Just joking. 1944, the USS Wilkes and the USS Roe, both destroyers, carrying the 1st Battalion, 163rd Infantry, land on Waakde off the Dutch New Guinea, securing the island and setting up airstrips for the Southwest Pacific offensive. And then, I've got to get something ready now. Hold on.
Get your magnifying glasses out.
Oh, shut up.
Right, hold on. Closer to the screen.
Hold on, let me get that right. Oh, look at that. That's a nice one. Right, let's do that. It was 1940, the first flight of the Saab 17. The Saab 17 is a Swedish single-engine monoplane reconnaissance dive bomber of the 1940s, originally developed by ASJA prior to its merger into Saab. It was the first all-metal stressed skinned aircraft developed in Sweden. The Ethiopian Air Force kept it going until 1968. And if I can share it, there we go. Look at that thing. Let's get rid of our ugly mushes. There we are. Look at that. That's it there.
That's like a Swedish plane.
Yeah. So
interesting.
That is interesting. So that's that. 1942, the Royal Canadian Air Force number 423 Coastal Squadron was formed at Oban, which is in Scotland. They put England here. It's in Scotland, so they would get the. If I said Oban's England, there'd be another war. So they come over the border. 1944, Monte Cassino, Italy, was taken by the Allied forces during World War II. The ancient Italian monastery had been a symbol of German resistance since the beginning of the war. This Battle of Monte Cassino, also known as the Battle for Rome, was a series of 4 military assaults by the Allies against German forces in Italy during the Italian campaign of World War II. The objective was to break through the Winter Line and facilitate an advance towards Rome. There we go.
There is a huge Panzer Grenadier.
I know, and I'll tell you who's bidding on it. And I didn't
designed about this battle, and it is huge. If you want to really learn about this battle,
this I didn't know about it, but Gareth, the one I was with at Punch was in the chat, is bidding on Casino Panzer Grenadier because I got him back into it.
Oh,
so good luck, because he texted me. He said, I've just been outbid. You're not bidding on this, Ruff, are you? I said, no, I would have done it if I'd have known about it. But I said, no, you go for it. You keep, good luck with it.
As well as someone mentioned in the chat, and I have seen it before, and when you mentioned Vicksburg, there is an upcoming Great Campaigns of the American Civil War game from MMP about the Vicksburg campaign coming out.
Oh,
it's on pre-order right now. So if you're into GCACW, here you go.
No, la. Sorry, no, because it looks lovely. So what we got? The Boeing B-29 stroke 45 MO, serial number 44-86292, Victor number 82, Super Fortress Enola Gay, named after Enola Gay Tibbets, mother of the pilot Paul Tibbets, rolls out today from the manufacturer.
I've seen it. It's not too far from me.
Cool. It's cool. I think it was made by Martin. I don't know if they were involved with Boeing, but yeah. So
there's actually there's a raised walkway you walk on to. You can look into the cockpit, and they actually had to put in glass panes because originally when it was just open, people would throw stuff at the plane. They got mad for some reason.
Oh. Well, it must stir many different types of emotion if you go and see it. But
now, the interesting thing is not only is Enola Gay is near Washington, D.C., but the other plane that dropped the atomic bomb on Nagasaki is in Dayton, Ohio, the Boxcar. That's the other B-29. So you can go see both if you come to the States, Ruff.
Yeah. Oh, well, one day, it's inevitable, isn't it? They're going to invite me. Somebody's going to invite me.
I mean, England's going to declare war on us again at some point. So
no, I think France always gets first refusal.
Oh, okay.
So, and another aircraft thing. So I've got to get this ready as well. So no, that's the wrong one. There we go.
And it'll be just because it's reminded me, it'll be the 80th anniversary of D-Day coming up in June 6th this year.
Yeah.
So like 3 weeks away, the 80th anniversary. So if you're playing along with us with our 10 games, if you play a game from D-Day in June, you get an extra point.
Oh,
just a reminder.
There's some great D-Day games out there.
I'm sorry, Ruff. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. No, that's great because I was thinking about what Thomas Historic Wings was talking about the other week. About playing a war game in Patton's granddaughter's house in France. But anyway, that would be wonderful. That would be awesome. Anyway, 1951, Britain's first 4-engine jet bomber, the Vickers Valiant, made its maiden flight today. Once part of the Royal Air Force's V-bomber nuclear force, originally developed for use as high-level strategic bomber, but its role, like other V-bombers, was changed to low-level attacks, as saw in the Falklands. The V-bombers were the Valiant, the Vulcan, and the Victor. It was retired very soon, though, in 1965. They were prematurely scrapped after metal fatigue was found in the wings of a few aircraft. And let's see if I can share that with you. Look at that.
Oh,
that's the Valiant. Huge thing. Just like the Vulcan. The Vulcan's my favorite, I must admit. The Vulcan's
I think there's still like one around.
Yes, I think it's not flying, I don't think, but it's a crazy.
Is that a ball turret underneath that? What is that?
I think that's to do with
radar and
radar. Yes, it's got the same nose as the Vulcan. Yeah, you're right, Thomas. Yeah, but Vulcan with the old Delta wings, it's just such a cool looking plane. Yeah, creative. You're right. Yeah, it's right. Yeah, the Valiant as well. Yeah, so those were the
Brits always had very interesting looking aircraft. Like the Meteor was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you guys had more sort of spaceshipy or type aircraft like Starfighter and the very sort of science fictiony looking things, whereas the Brits were sort of unusual, innovative sort of designs. But last thing, another aircraft one, 1958. in a zero-length launch in 1958 experiment. So they just sort of no runway or anything. A U.S. Air Force North American F-100D Super Sabre, another good-looking plane, becomes airborne with no runway or takeoff roll at all, using its own engine in afterburner and boosted by a 130,000-pound thrust Astrodyne rocket. I reckon that'll get a building up, don't you? But crikey, yeah, that's things they used to do in the 50s. Just bonkers. Boy. But that's today. That's today in 18th of May. There we are.
So basically, we have Britain declares war on France on May 18th twice, and then a bunch of planes take off.
We got bored.
And then they have a lot of planes that got released on this day.
Yeah, I know. There wasn't a lot of like Second World War.
They do in number 10. They go, oh, it's May 18th. So
let's do it again. No, but there wasn't a lot of World War II stuff apart from Casino and that. But there's a lot of airplane stuff, which, as you know, I looked up, that military, the naval one about old Benedict naming the ship Enterprise, and that was it.
I wonder if that's what the Union soldiers were doing in Vicksburg. Hey, look, guys, it's May 18th. Britain declared war on France.
Yeah. You can see why, though, in your War of Independence, or that the French helped you along. You're fighting the British, no problem. We'll come and help you.
That's right. So, and then when they asked us for help in the Napoleonic Wars, we said, no thanks.
No, it's over there. It's over there. Yeah.
World War One starts. Oh, you guys again? No. Get it to us in a couple years.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. Yeah, bonkers things.
Mm-hmm. Well, now
strap rockets to everything. Yeah. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah. Stuff went on. Right, who's next?
Jester, would you like to go or would you like me to go?
You go.
Okay. Well, I have I can't remember who asked. Someone asked last week in the chat. It might have been E4 Airman. I don't remember. For Ancients books. So I thought I would come out with another Ancient book, particularly if you're interested in playing either Pax Romana from GMT or Imperium Romanum, either Imperium Romanum 2 from West End Games from 1980, I believe, or the new 3rd edition Imperium Romanum from Decision Games, which actually is good. This book, it's called The Poison King. It is the life and times of Mithridates VI of Pontus. And Pontus was like a mixture of a Persian / Hellenistic or Greek kingdom on the northern coast of what today is Turkey. And they controlled the lands, not all of them, but a lot of the lands surrounding the Black Sea. So northern Turkey into the Caucasus, up towards Ukraine, Crimea. And Mithridates came into conflict with the Roman Republic and its allies, particularly the kingdom of Pergamum. In Turkey is called Asia Minor back then. And the king of Pergamum, when he died, he willed the kingdom to the Roman Republic and just gave it to the Romans. So the Romans had a toehold now in Asia Minor. Well, Mithridates went to war, and there were 3 different called Mithridatic Wars. And he lost. He lost all 3. Eventually, he lost his kingdom. The Romans had annexed them. And but the neatest thing I love the story about Mithridates is it's called the Poison King because he was so afraid that he was going to get poisoned that throughout his life, he would take small bits of sublethal doses of poison in order to build up an immunity to the poison. But when he lost the last war, the Romans were coming to get him. He decided to take his own life and tried to take poison, but it didn't work. So we had to, right? So we had to have one of his minions stab him to death.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's a fascinating story. It's not a terribly big book.
He says that about all the big, thick books, doesn't he?
Well, I mean, 360 some pages.
300 pages would take me like 2 weeks to read.
Minimum. It's not bad. 2 weeks. But yeah, it's a great book, and especially if you want to game out the Mithridatic Wars, there is 2 scenarios specifically for right, Mike. Yeah, ruining the ending. Yeah. Spoiler alert. There are 2 scenarios specifically in Imperium Romanum where you can game out the Mithridatic Wars, which is really fun to play. So,
in which game?
Called Imperium Romanum.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I'd like to know what Nate calls a thick book. Oh, okay. How about this one? This one's on the 30 Years' War, but it's
that's a thick book. Yeah.
Let's see how many pages.
That looks like a fantasy book right there. Fantasy novels are.
They're yeah.
851 pages is this book.
Yeah, make the most of that, Nate, because that will be disappearing over time. We had this conversation.
Yeah, you better just get those shelves ready to go.
I tell you what, it's been almost 6 months since I've been on this show. And really? Not one book.
6 months?
I joined it February, March, April, May. So we got
coming up.
Coming up, I should say. 6 months is coming up. It's getting closer, I should say.
Crazy. That's
right?
Crazy.
Yeah.
February.
Not one book.
March, April, May. You barely 3 months, buddy.
I'm looking forward.
You haven't even made it past your probation yet.
Oh, really?
Oh,
man.
Blimey.
Oh, man. It's a good thing I'm on your show, Ruff, today, right?
I apologize for my colleagues' sort of tart comments.
Oh.
We love you, Nate. You're really starting to stick around now.
They're all starting now.
You need to take some time away. Go ahead. No, I mean, because your dissertation. If you need to take some time away, that's we will understand. We'll have you back.
What's he saying? What's he saying?
I'm trying to be nice, Ruff. You wouldn't know.
Right. Okay. That's sorry. That's very unusual. That's why it caught me off on the hop there.
Jester, nice. What?
Yeah.
So my segment now is
Yesterday.
We're going to be having a living, breathing look at the best 500 war games of all time. Last week we did 500 to 491. This week 490 to 481. But you're going to see that some of these games have moved up and down the list. Let's get to it. Rough. Here we go. So number 490 is Wings of the Baron, second edition, came out in 2015.
I'm sure GMT have republished it. It's on P500. It's one where you build airplanes, yeah?
Oh, is that what that is? Okay. It was originally produced by Victory Point Games. 3 to 5 players. The community says best 4 to 5, 30 to 60 minutes. So that's a game on building aircraft. Wow. All right, so that's interesting. That is number 494. 89 is a game we saw last week. It moved up the list. It is 1066, Tears to Many Mothers, the Battle of Hastings from 2014.
I dare say it's moved up because of the exposure it got on this show.
Oh,
probably did. It's 1 to 2 players. It takes 30 to 60 minutes. And it is by All or Nothing Production. It has some of the best artwork in any game ever in this game. So if you really like to have nice artwork,
they do nice art. I know you don't like the game, but the Gloom of Kilforth series has fantastic artwork. You can't deny that. Their games just have, they're from the UK as well.
Yep. Number 488 is, look at what it is, Ruff. I knew you liked this one. Tokyo Express, the Guadalcanal Naval Campaign, 1942, 1 to 2 players, 60 to 360 minutes, and it's made by Victory Games.
Yes, I've got that caressing my copy now.
I believe there is going to be, at some point in the future, a new edition
from Compass. Yeah.
So seriously, if I was to ask you and you didn't know this, if I was to say, "Oh, Tokyo Express," where would you put it in your top 500?
Well, I've never played it.
Okay. Oh. Would you? I mean,
it's a
would
solid.
You put it 488th, or would you made it 200-300? I think it's weighed on the list, and I don't know why.
For how often I've heard about that.
It's an old game, and remember these things. It's BGG, so war games are sort of tolerated.
Yeah.
So, it's a classic game in my opinion.
All right, 487 is Napoleon's Last Gamble, Battle of the 100 Days, 2016, 2 to 6 players, 180 to 1200 minutes. This is a game publisher by OSG.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the Napoleon game. Which battles does it cover?
Waterloo campaign. So Waterloo.
Yeah, if it's anything, I've learned this. If it says Napoleon's last battles or last gamble or last something, it's Waterloo and what's the other one?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Wavre,
Ligny.
486 is Wings of Glory, World War One dual pack. We saw this last week too. This moved up.
It's moving up.
Oh my God! I cannot believe
it's what we're doing. It's what we're doing. The influence this show has is phenomenal.
Man.
2 players, 30 minutes. I actually got on Noble Knight this week and was checking out pricing on this because I love the little miniatures. I would love to get them, but
it's
they're
a very popular game. I understand. They've got a Second World War version as well, I think.
There is. Oh, look at that rough. Huh? Yeah.
I would just collect the little planes.
I have heard and seen this. Yeah.
485 is Amateurs of Arms, 2012, 2 players, 150 minutes.
Oh,
it's
dear.
By Clash of Arms. I don't know anything
is that a BBG?
No, it is not.
That's all right then, because Clash of Arms are known for their BBGs, aren't they?
It is War of 1812. It does have very nice artwork. It's a great
map. I like the map. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The map
is there's the Brits right there. Yeah. All right, number 484 is Conquest of the Empire. This came out in 2005. 2 to 6 players, 120 to 240 minutes, and it's by Eagle Griffin Games. I actually had this at one point and got rid of it.
Well, because this is actually
never heard of it.
This is the second edition. The first edition was the Milton Bradley version.
And it has some of the artwork on the board was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely amazing, as you can tell.
Yep. It's a fun game. It's not historical, but it's fun.
Number 483 is Across 5 Aprils 1992. This game came out. 2 players, 60 to 360 minutes, and this is produced by Victory Game, another Victory Games.
Yeah,
Eric Lee Smith.
Eric Lee Smith, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's done a lot of good Civil War games.
So 5 Aprils must have been Civil War battles of Bull Run, Pea Ridge, Shiloh.
Even I know how to say that.
All right. Gettysburg and Bentonville. All right.
Whew. Man.
Number 482 is Star Trek Panic 2016. 1 to 6 players, 60 minutes, and it's by Fireside Games. I just played Dead Panic, and it's basically the same thing, but with Star Wars characters.
Star Trek. Enterprise. Thank you.
Enterprise. Yes, sirree. We talked about the Enterprise.
Is that a war game? I'm not sure that's a war game.
You're fighting the Klingons.
War. 482 war.
Yes.
Anybody can put a label on it.
Yeah. And last but not least for this week, we have Roads to Leningrad 2004.
Vance von Voorhees.
Yeah, I think that's on the P5, or I think it was on the P500 because there was no interest because I wanted this as well. They've taken it off, I think, the Rotters.
Maybe they'll put it back.
Maybe.
That is your timeline of history of what war games were 490 down to 481 today, May 16th, 2024. Next week, we're going to see half of these games that they move up the list.
Let's hope so, because that will just prove our point, won't it?
Jester, by the way, it's May 18th, not May 16th.
May 18th. Yes, sorry.
Well, let's hope so, because I did want it,
Right?
Yes, and they're going to get it. They're going to put it back on.
Mm-hmm.
Mike's probably already on the phone with Gene right now. Hey, War Room, they just talked about Leningrad. Roads to Lenin. You better put that one back on the P500. You'll get a lot of people to pre-order that.
I still want his like Nordic Cell. I still want his Army Group North and Army Group South.
Yeah. I know, but it's again, I didn't order those. I actually didn't order them because they're this huge. I know they're smaller scenarios, but I've got enough. Jeez, you want to see all the stuff over there? Oh,
come on, it's the East Front. I mean,
we need another East Front game, do we?
Now, without looking, right? We talked about the number one war game of all time being War of the Ring, because you talked about that. What do you think the number two war game of all time is?
Root.
Okay.
No, it's
Twilight Struggle.
Yes, Twilight Struggle.
Right, had to be the other one. Yeah.
Very good. A
lot of people don't think it's a war game, though.
I was just gonna say it's not a war game, but you had already called it out. It's not a war game, but yeah, it's and then number three, if you have any ideas, number three is an official war game.
Oh, it's an official
war game.
Is it
It's one of my all-time favorite, Russ. It's been dropping a little bit just because it's so hard to get to the table.
Oh, yes. Someone put it in the chat.
Somebody did put it in the chat.
Path of Glory, yeah.
Path of Glory, yes.
Oh, look, this is where my games are now being stored on my table. But look, oh, crikey. He says trying to...
Yep, there it is.
Speaking,
I am surprised that you didn't see that at the con. I'm really surprised nobody played that.
No, but the only people that were playing it, I think, last year were the father and daughter.
Right, so that's why
And then they're playing Illusions of Glory. So they've obviously done Pursuit of Glory and now moving on to that. And they were playing some sort of complex hex and counter game. This little girl is amazing. 8, 9, 10 years old. I'm rubbish at ages.
Ruff is over there drooling over. Hey, I remember it from last year. And the little girl's like, Daddy, help me.
Hold on. No. That makes me sound a little bit... No, sorry. No, I wasn't doing that at all. It was nice to see. There were there weren't many. There were a few ladies there. And a lot of bald white men. But anyway... but some who weren't my colour. So it was a nice, because
it's great. It's really good. I would think if Buckeye Game Fest was just war games, we would not have 200 people there. There's no way. There's no way we would get 200 people.
What do you think? Damn, Tim. There were some younger people there. There were quite a lot, but there was, I would say it was like let's think 60-40 under 50, over 50. So it was quite good, quite nice to see, that there were some people there who weren't decrepit old grognards. It's good to see. It was good. And it was packed in there, and you've got to look at, second chance games, apart from the sons are all, younger than me. So it's good, Vuka Sims younger than me. I hate everyone young. Anyway, it was terrible. No, it's good to see.
That includes me. You hate, because I'm younger than you. Does that mean you hate me?
No, it was a joke. It's just an expression. But it was good that the place was packed. There was with all the other bods there. Companies. There must have been 200 people.
Gareth, plenty of French there.
There were plenty of French.
They brought the French in.
You all didn't declare war on them, bitch.
I'm surprised, that they turned up. Maybe they're trying to get their own back by winning all the games.
Well, they figured the war is gonna be declared on today, so they figured this is our last chance to go over there and play before.
That's a little bit now, Thomas. That's a little bit dodgy. That.
Oh,
I'm not saying it because we'll get banned.
I ended up picking up. I love the card-driven games, CDGs. I picked up one that's been on my radar for years and years and never got it. Ruff, it's right up your alley. I think you would like it. It is called Unhappy King Charles.
Yes, I've heard of that.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be here tomorrow, so I'm hoping to get that one to the table sometime soon.
As soon as GMT bring out a CDG solo for it, I shall order it. But that's why I got For the People and Washington's War, because of those. It means I can have a little go at it, without having to find an opponent. Sorry, Nate.
Before we get to our topic, I do have a question for you, yes. Russ. You did, because you mentioned, mentioned something just a little bit ago. I'm curious, since you normally mention something right at the end of the show, and Christoph has a great question of, are you going to amend that to you?
What youngsters? These youngsters taking over my war game hobby.
So
I'm only joking.
So speaking of, because I thought we would, I know normally we save about a half hour or so for our topic, but I thought since we got a lot of stories to tell that we would take a little bit more time. And speaking of World War I a little bit ago, so actually today I was playing a World War I game with some history professors that I know, and we played for 6 hours and got through one turn.
That's because they're history professors. They're having an argument.
Oh, we were all having fun talking about stuff, but trying to go through the rule book. The rule book was a little rough, and you'll understand as soon as I show you the box. So we were playing this, Fatal Alliances. It's the World War I version of World in Flames.
World in Flames, yeah. That's
right.
Not the game to introduce to people.
Right. Which is no more. I liked it. It is good. I do like it, except, Ruff, you'll understand why the rule book is a little bit of a mess because of this right here.
Compass Games.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, missing cards. I mean, crikey, come on. You could have put them in a blooming envelope and posted them to me, couldn't you? I mean, crikey.
Yep. And in fact, it was to the point where if you go on BGG, it's specifically mentioned by people who play this more regularly that don't use the rules that are in the book. Instead, use the ones that are posted on BGG.
Isn't that we could have a discussion about that, couldn't we, at one time?
Oh, yeah.
When the rules in the box aren't as good as a fan-based rule set that somebody's taken the trouble to make.
It had all the errata in it and everything.
That mentions, like last year or 2 years ago, that game companies should not put a rule book in the games anymore. They should have them online only.
Well, I say I much prefer physical copies.
I do, but if it gets to the stage where if they say this is the updated rules, we're not putting one in the box, go and print it off. We'll take a tenner off the game because we know how much.
Yeah, give us all $5 off the game, $10.
And I would do that. I would print it off and put it in the box. So
yeah, but then you can have a living copy of it as they. Right. Oh shit, we forgot to put this rule in, or oh shit, we forgot to change this thing.
The problem is if they keep doing that, and there was a couple of games that every time they bring out a new in the series, it's a new rule book with a little tweak here and there. If there's not a rule book in the box, at least you can if there is a rule book in the box, you can at least play the game. But if there isn't a rule book in the box, you've got to wait until all the tweaks are done. And that might be a year down the road before you can print off the proper version.
When I buy a game, I want a rule book in that box. I don't want to go download anything.
Not for my printer, Koyi.
Yeah. So, but anyway, interesting story though, even in the one turn that we played. And so I mentioned to Christoph about, from Belgium, that there was no invasion of Belgium in our playthrough. The Germans decided to go Schlieffen east.
Oh,
right, as opposed to invading France. And so that's going not so well for the Russians right now. The Austrians have basically overrun the Serbs and have taken Belgrade, even in August and September of 1914. And the British, because in the game, because the Belgian neutrality has not been violated, that meant that the British Commonwealth couldn't come in automatically. So they had to you have to work your way to declare war. So the German fleet could sail out of Wilhelmshaven and Kiel in sort of relative security that the Brits aren't going to come out and destroy them just quite yet. So yeah, I'm playing as the Entente. So me and my friend are the Entente, and we're trying to hold on, and we'll see. But yeah, good. Interesting little narrative that's already been created just in one turn.
Now, this is the thing, you see. I don't know about you guys in the chat and us here, but I get most of my narrative endorphins and, wow, that was wonderful, from
dopamine,
from tactical games and from solitaire games, because you're playing on your own. You're making the thing up. When you're playing with somebody else, you do lose a little bit. I think this is me, not don't take it as gospel. When you're playing with somebody else, that's great because you had the banter, you're having fun and everything. The narrative drops a little because you're concentrating on the other person and having fun with that person. But when you're playing solo, tactical, for me, that's when the narrative shines through. Look at my first playthrough was Warfighter, the Magnificent Six. There was a story because one of the guys on the photos of the cards looked like Yul Brynner a little bit if you squinted your eyes. So I made the most of that. And again, Warfighter, when I did the Pacific version, the man of the match, the VIP player was it's that. And you come, oh, look, they've spied a building in the woods here. And it just happens naturally with those sort of games.
It's more of a narrative because you have a connection to like a person or a character as opposed to like a side.
They're named. When you zoom out.
I was just going to say that, Ruff.
When you're zoomed out, you've got armies and you lose a division, you go, okay, hunters, the hunters and all that sort of thing, and Warfighter.
Like what was it? That quote from Stalin: "You lose 100 guys or something like that, and it's a tragedy, but lose 1 million, and it's a statistic."
Yeah. We've got more than them. We should win. So the World War I sort of thinking.
See, I mean, I could see that. Like, I haven't played many tactical games
for different folks. I can see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I can definitely see that. Like I said, I haven't played a lot of tactical games, but the ones that I have played, I totally see where you get that. You get that sort of close connection to the characters that you're playing with.
Yeah. And the other one, I know Jester wants to talk about his and you. Yeah, but the other one was Hunters. Hold on a sec. The Hunters, it's nice to be able to get a word in. The Hunters, when I played that, I did that's one, again, it's a popular video. And the last video was where they got sent to Spain. So they're all looking forward. I was saying they're all looking forward to having the sunbathing on top of the submarine and everything. And what happens? That's where they got sunk. So that was a great narrative as well. So, yeah. I'll shut up now.
I was just going to finish my thought with World War I was not only in, Fatal Alliances, but then also, I've mentioned it, I don't know how many times, that Death in the Trenches game that I'm close to finishing it. But the narrative that's being created in it is just fascinating. I mean, it's definitely a different World War I than what occurred. Serbia's been conquered, and Montenegro's been conquered. Norway entered the war. They were actually neutral in real life, and they entered the war on the Entente side. And currently in the game, I'm in spring 1916, and it looks like that the Russians will probably be wiped out by the end of 1916. So the Russian Revolution will come a year early in the game. But having because the Russians had made such a hard push in 1914 and caused the Germans and the Austro-Hungarians to kind of panic, the Germans pulled some units from the Western Front, and the Germans got bogged down and are pretty much static on the Western Front. And it's really cool in that the game, the way that the mechanics are laid out, there's the possibility of recreating the dynamics that were there in the real war, but the story that you create as a player is completely different than the
I was going to say, you get that's a what, operational or strategic
level.
So you're still getting narrative from that. I don't tend to, but yeah, that's fascinating. That's what makes it all.
Well, his narrative.
We're interested to hear from you.
Hold on. I just want to go to the chat. We're going to Jester and we'll give him all the time he wants because I know what he wants to talk about, and it's a good story. Just want to make sure that I haven't missed anybody out. That's because people are going to be putting their voices in, and
I would love to hear from people.
Yeah, and I'm going to try and get to them.
I only see one thumbs up, so maybe I need to refresh.
I think you need to refresh. Yeah, sorry. Over to you, Jester.
Well, you kind of stole on my thunder by yakking.
Oh, shut up! Get on with it. Get on with it. Come on.
I agree with you.
They get the violin out.
Tends to, for me and Solo, are my two games that usually give me lots of narrative. Usually gives me things. I also names. Names are important.
Yeah.
As soon as you can, hey, that's Bill. Hey, that's Steve. Hey, that's Hank. Whatever. Then you have a connection with those counters. You have a specific thing.
And is it more?
Not only is it
more from tactical games rather than strategic and operational, like me.
I find it that way.
Yeah.
I find it to be more. The lower level games are easier for me to build a narrative. But with that said, Nate's building a narrative on 6 years of history.
Yeah.
He's not building it on one battle. Like one little battle, it's hard to get that. The other thing that game companies can do to let you build the narrative is to give you, like for us, Ruff, Panzer Grenadier with the leader counters. When you have those specific leader counters, you get attached to those leaders. You find out that Franz or Hans or whoever is doing a great job with his guys.
Yeah, and you want to keep him.
You want to keep him alive somehow. So anytime you get counters and have individual units or individual leaders or something that's solo or singular, gives it easier to make a connection on it. But with all that said, I played this game this week, Interceptor Ace. And this is a solo game. Gregory Smith. I thought, wow, this is going to be right up my alley because I really liked Target for Today and the solo narrative. Yep. I had no solo narrative in this game whatsoever. So it does depend on the design of the game. It just I didn't feel a connection with it. I love BF-109s are my favorite plane of all time. I love these planes. You think I would have a special connection with this? I love the bomber struggle against the Luftwaffe and all that, but I could not get into it at all because of the design of the game. Took me out of it.
And here's another one of my favorites: Combat. Another individual named soldiers, and there we go. It's.
So, Jester, you reminded me when you were talking just a little bit ago. It reminded me of a game that Ruff and I both love, and that is Atlantic Chase. And particularly when you play the solitaire scenarios, at the end, let's see if I can get it. There's a debriefing table to see how many victory points that you have, and then it actually list like what happened what could have happened in real life. So there's a connection to what you did to what the result is. So like an example would be like the First Lord is ecstatic. He urges the Prime Minister to authorize the mining of Norway's inner leads, or if you lose, the admiral is cashiered and stripped from his command and sent to the Pacific. And so it gives you a kind of really cool little bit of a narrative as you even as you finish the game. And go ahead.
Also, it's not a tactical game as such. You're looking at the overview, but that's a weird, for me, operational. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird, the narrative I get from that is incredible, because especially if you're playing solo, again, the theater of the mind,
mm-hmm.
you're trying to cat and mouse of the game is incredible. You're trying to find these Germans, if you're playing the British, and if you're playing the Germans, you're trying to keep away from them, and you're trying to find the convoys. Mm-hmm. So you're playing the guy in the map room.
Right.
And that's the narrative, no, they've got away again. Let's try and find this.
But there's also named ships as well. Yes. So, the Bismarck sunk the Hood. And now you all, like you said, you all both look at sort of named individuals in tactical games. Whereas with me, since I like a lot of operational games, I kind of look at more of like this division broke through the enemy line and secured the objective, as opposed to an individual. Or some games, like they'll have the named general who's in charge of that division or that corps or whatever. And so, Rommel broke through the Gazelle line and took Tobruk, kind of thing. And those are kind of really cool narratives that I like a lot.
All right. So let me ask you this question, boys. And this, I think it's going to be interesting what you have to say about this. Do you find the narrative comes out more when you repeat what happens in real life, or when things alter history, like this division got through when it never did realistically, or this plane sank the bit, or let's just say the Bismarck got away, right? The Bismarck got away, never got sunk. Would that stand out more to you because it changed history? Or
go ahead, Jim. Rough.
Yes, things that don't go to plan or are ahistorical are, yes, you remember them. Like I still remember my game with Blue Tweezer, the Men of Iron series, the Roses one, where Richard III survived. And that was I just remembered it. He didn't die. My horse.
Somebody give him a horse, I guess.
No, he got a horse in the end.
Yeah, that's what I said. Somebody give him a horse.
But yeah, in things like Atlantic Chase, if the Bismarck escapes, it's like, yes, even though it's the Germans, it's the narrative. You always remember, if you want to throw high, you always remember those boxcars. You always remember. Not so much the bad throws. It's always that one that won you that round or won you that battle. It's narrative is very important when especially as a solo player, when you're playing solo. And don't get me wrong, there seems to be some sort of, not hate, but some sort of looking down on solo or solitaire players. You should be playing with real people. But I get a kick out of playing with real people that's different from playing solitaire. I get that story a lot of the time. When you're playing somebody else, you're worrying what they're doing, what they're up to, trying to foil their plans. That's for me anyway. And it may be different. Your mileage, as I say, your mileage may vary. But yeah, I like it when things go askew. Don't go to plan.
See, if I know that I'm going into a game where, after looking through it and seeing that the mechanics of the game, the way that the game is designed, is going to railroad me into recreating history, then I'm not very likely to play the game, because I'd rather read a book or watch a documentary.
Exactly.
But I don't mind history repeating itself, especially if my choices that I'm making in the game, that all of a sudden I realize I'm doing the same thing that they did,
and it worked that time. It's working this time, sort of thing. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from with your narrative, a more sort of zoomed out version.
So, example that I was just talking to the professors today about Death in the Trenches. I was telling them about my game, is that I'm to the point where, in the spring of 1916, the head of the German army at the time, Falkenhayn, was looking for where do we attack? We're stuck everywhere. Where do we go? We got to go somewhere. So some guys suggest Verdun. And they're like, okay, well, we'll go there. Sure. And I'm at that point in the game myself where it's like, if I attack anywhere, I'm going to lose men and leave an opening in my front line for the enemy to run through. And so I'm almost at an impasse. And I was sitting playing this thinking, I kind of now am at that same point. I'm understanding and seeing sort of the big picture situation of where do we go? Where do we go from here?
It's interesting. It's an interesting concept, where if that was me playing, I'd be going, oh, bugger, look, they've got through, rather than, you've got a whole narrative. But this is, and this, Jester, not so much your target for today, that the extra, all the missions, the next mission, will they survive the next mission? Will they survive these named people of yours?
Yeah.
I think I died.
Yeah,
did Tony die?
They got all kinds of cool things. Yeah,
I remember your Target for Today campaign you went on. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. It was very. It was. I was just. Nate brought up a good point, and it made me think about something that, I play board games, I play sports games, and everything. And one thing I hate in sports games is anything that gives a rare play, because it's like, why do this? But in war games, I usually tend to like the rare things happening. That's why I like Combat Commander so much, because all that chaos. I think war is chaos. It's just what's going to happen. So I don't mind a rare. What do you guys think about, like, does that help the narrative as well when you have those rare instances, those rare moments of things happening?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm just thinking of, like, so example, my first time playing War and Peace, the Napoleonic game, and a history professor of mine who was a Napoleonic historian said, you should come play this game with me. I'm like, sure, absolutely. And so we set up the Austerlitz 1805 scenario, and I was the French, and he was the Austrians, and someone else was the Russians. And I followed the historical movement of Napoleon and his armies as he was cutting off the Austrian army at Ulm. And historically, Napoleon had crossed over into an area called Ansbach, which was owned by the Prussians at that point. And he violated the neutrality of Prussia. Now, the Prussians didn't actually enter the war at that point. They waited until the next year in real life. But in the game, because I violated the neutrality of Prussia, the next role for diplomacy, the coalition could ask the Prussians if they want to come in. And it's a really rare chance to get them in on a die roll. And I thought, it's like a 1 in 8 chance or something like that. Like, no problem. I'll do it. First time playing this game, mind you. And he rolled a perfect roll, and the Prussians came in. Like, oh crap. I'm screwed.
And you remember that.
French lost the campaign.
Yeah. It's interesting that you're getting your narrative from these sort of games. The chat seems to think, things like Ambush, B-17, Target for Today, Warfighter, are all the ones that get the old, as I say, theater of the mind going.
Oh yeah. And I'm sure they do. I mean, I haven't played.
No, they're not for you. It seems you're, and it's great that you're different. It's great that you have a different point of view.
I love that everyone's having such great moments in these games. I mean, games that I've not played, so I'm curious to try them out myself now.
Because a lot of them are you're just throwing the dice for the game. Yeah, the Hunters is like that. But if you and that's why it gets poo-pooed a lot by love or hate things. But for me, that's just, and I suppose it is the same for you, Jess. It's making the story go. That's the thing that's making the story. The main thing is the story.
Going on a chart and you're getting a result just gives you, oh, okay, now I see. And not only that, but how many times has it been like the roll on a random chart was like the perfect thing that would have made sense to your story? You're making this story up as you go. Oh, we're in trouble and blah blah blah. And all of a sudden, I roll on a random chart and I get like the lucky, rabbit's foot or whatever. And all of a sudden, my luck turns around and the engine, that's on fire comes back alive. And you're like,
that bloody destroyer that keeps depth charging you finally misses it, and you can go right.
It's how many times that works out like that.
I love those moments in games like that, where like or like even moments where you're doing really well and you're on a roll and there's a lot of momentum behind you, and then you make that one bad roll and it just undoes everything that you've been really reaching towards. And even though it sucks in the moment, especially when you're the guy, but I think it's cool to have that, because that's stuff that could happen in real life.
And the thing you're getting it from sort of operational games is great. I probably wouldn't get as much narrative out of that as you do.
Sure.
If you try these scaled down, even if it's solo, have a go at some solitaire games, maybe you'll come back in a couple of months and go, do you know what, guys? I'm hooked. These games are fantastic.
There are some solitaire games I do really like. Like, I think I showed one. Oh, this was not long after I came on. The Gift of the Nile from Ben Madison.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That writes some, the Mrs. Thatcher's War and the
Mm-hmm. That was fascinating games there.
I'll tell you what, David. Just treat each one when they've done their move, they've done it, and then concentrate on the narrative of the next chap. I mean, that's how I do it. But yeah, they can get a bit big. Yeah, you tend to pick your friends, like Jester did. He picked me and Tony and some of his subscribers.
I picked all the subscribers, and I named all the planes after people that we knew, subscribers and stuff, and we had a really good time doing that. I should probably get back to that sometime.
Yeah, I mean, I've got them. I've got to play it as well. The Skies Over Britain. The problem with that is I was like, oh, maybe I could name some people, but they're alphabetical, and you tend to name them the A pilot with an A surname and all that. I could just say the A pilot is Phoenix Knight. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I've written it down. In me,
there is a sheet though that has all the real names.
Yeah, but I don't want real names. I want people that are like Jester. I want his friends and subscribers that he can kill.
And that's right.
That's got to demonetize there, Ruff.
And I think I got wounded or killed. I can't remember now. I have to watch it again. And Tony didn't last long. And
speaking of Phoenix Knight, did you guys see last Saturday after the War Room, me and Phoenix Knight got together and played Black Orchestra. We had to go hunt down and what do you call him, Ruff? Adolf?
Titler, the man from Austria.
So, we had to go hunt down Titler and.
No, you've just said it now. Look.
Uh-oh.
So that was a fun little. Have you guys ever played that one?
I think that was being played at Punch.
I've not played that. It looks interesting though.
It's definitely got an interesting premise for sure, and I'm very surprised and appreciative that they actually keep swastikas and stuff in the game to make it look realistic. Like they don't try to baby away from history, which is I think a lot of game companies would have, we're not going to do that, blah, 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 because it might piss off some people. And,
sure.
And I understand, there's the Jews and the hatred and all that and blah, blah, blah. But the goal of the game, like if somebody's going to, like, why would you play that game? Because it's got swastikas, but the goal of the game is to go kill Hitler.
It's the main thing. It's
not to praise him. It's not to make the Nazis like.
You're not glorifying the Yazis, are you?
We're not. Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Anyway, Nate, question.
a great question. I guess it depends on the game, and it depends on how my knowledge of the topic. I mean, like example would be like if I'm playing like Imperium Romanum or something like that, where I know the Roman campaigns by heart, and I know everywhere they moved, and I know every commander. It's a little tough at times. Yeah, it's a little tough at times, but it's still a lot of fun, regardless. Because sometimes you try to recreate history in some games, like more like, for instance, me, like Operation or Strategic, where you try to set up where you can recreate the same history, but the real history was almost like a Hail Mary. It was like a 1 in a million chance.
And that's your die roll, isn't it?
It's that lucky die roll. And you may or may not be able to get that. And sometimes it's fun to try that out. See,
and also if it does work, you can see, I see why they chose that plan.
Right, exactly. Something. Yeah.
I agree.
I've not played it yet.
I've got it. I've got to play. Oh, Stiggy, how you doing, my friend? How you doing?
What is going on? Wow.
Where you been?
Yeah, where has he been?
That's true.
Boy, there's a lot of chat that we're behind on there, Ruff. There's a lot of chat.
I know. We're yakking.
I'm loving this. I'm loving the chat just giving us so many of their cool stories when they're playing.
I suppose you get the narrative in your sports. I know I do when I play me little bit of season ticket, you throw a bad, you think, oh, crikey, come on.
Yeah. I just had Aaron Judge hit a 2-run home run to give the Yankees the lead in the 7th inning the other day.
Stig is a a diplomat for solitaire games
and flipping counters.
What? Yeah, he likes counter clipping as well. Welcome back. We got somebody to have take the rise out of gently.
Yeah, somebody else gets beat on for a little while.
Yeah, GBACW. Yeah, that can create really great narratives.
Because that's still a tactical-ish game, isn't it? I know there's not individual people,
but regiment.
Got a little regiment over here with all these counters. Are they going to flank left? Are they going to go right? Are they going to Are they going to go forward?
I know. We're just having a bit of fun, Stig. Yeah. Again, another one for Warfighter. I know. No, I tried that, Nordic, and ruined my Fields of Fire.
Yeah, they all turn into stop signs.
Yeah.
I did that on one of my first games. I
thought, they clipped them. Let me try that. You've heard the story, but anyway,
it's bad. I can never do a video on it because I know I'll get creamed in the chat for it.
Yeah, that's why I haven't done my playthrough of it because it'd go viral.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Looking forward to your one, Stig, your game. I think it's going to be interesting to see what this does.
That's a good game.
With the narrative, because it is a solo game, but it is a grand strategy game, as Nate likes. So it's going to be interesting to see how does the narrative play on this one. Is it going to give me that narrative? Is there going to be moments that are going to stand out and make me go, oh yeah, this is awesome because of X, Y, and Z.
I've got to play it as well. I think it might because you're looking for ships, you're trying to find them, and income the Japanese and with their dive bombers, and
it's all counter clipped. What the hell? Awesome.
And I'm it seems like all three of us that we really like games that produce narratives where we are the ones making those decisions as opposed to the game making decisions for us.
And the story happening in your head. Well, a lot of the games, the story just happens. You're just filling in the corners of it. It just happens. It's weird, isn't it? Jester, the way the story just happens.
It's you've just we talked about this before we went live.
Yeah,
like life sometimes. Like I was approached this week by a gentleman that has a game that he wants me to debut on my channel, and the name of the game is called Iceland. as we talked about last week, I introduced to you guys that next year for our anniversary, me and the wife are going to Iceland. So, like, of all the names of the games in the world, the one guy that's creating a game called Iceland contacts me and says, I'm sending you this game to look at. It's crazy how things work out.
Yeah, that is. That's cool.
Yeah, as I coined it with, I think, Pavlov's House, frustratingly fun.
If you would have decided, because our other choice besides Iceland was to go to the Galapagos Islands, so we were just debating. Like, if we would have decided to go to Galapagos, I'm sure the guy would have said the name of my game is called Galapagos.
I've already done that. They've got one about Darwin, haven't they? I think
this game, I was when I
I'm looking forward to it.
P500, I was like, nope, not for me. But then the more I read about it, and particularly seeing the artwork for it, I'm in.
And it's an RPG type thing.
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So I think it's so different. I've got to try it. You know?
It's Ted Racer. I really like Ted Racer design. So,
and he's something different for him as well. You know,
yeah, it is.
Out of the his zone of comfort, maybe.
It does. I mean, every game will be a really cool narrative.
You're quite true. Yeah, you're frustratingly try and change these orders because you realize, oops, I've got to change my orders, and you can't.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
I'm just looking through the chat. If you want to keep going,
there's a lot of them.
I'm going to refresh and see how many likes we got. We got 47 likes. You guys showed me up. All right.
Look, there's 61 of you in the chat. Just push the like button, you rotters. Go on. You tinkers, you know you want to.
Okay, so you guys, both of you, someone put in the chat. I want to ask about it. So I think both of you have played Plum Island Horror, correct?
Yes, we played it with the designer.
Tell me about the narrative.
I played with them face to face. The designer and the player's aide and myself played it.
What did you think about the narrative that's created by that game?
The problem with that, for me, if I may just step in and let Jester, talk, is I didn't know the game that well. I was concentrating more on the rules rather than letting the game flow over me, sort of thing. So next time I play it, it's going to be, oh my God, I can relax because I know the rules better and I can relax into the narrative. That's the other thing. You've got to know
the narrative for that game was make sure when Ruff plays the game, he's familiar with the game system because, oh my God, I think we all pissed our pants. We were laughing so hard at Ruff trying to
the dice. You're talking about the dice.
Yes. See, that's what I remember. The narrative of the game for me was
me having trouble with the dice.
No, you.
Yeah. And you know what I remember from that was Herman nearly pissing his because he was laughing so much.
Couldn't stop laughing. It was so funny.
And I didn't know what I was doing. I go, I don't know what to do. Anyway, you have to watch it to see it.
So
go and watch it.
Later in the chat, I know Ruffy will get there, but I will mention it. So Ian mentions about Mr. President. And I have Mr. President, and I struggle with that game and with the narrative that's being created because I'm still trying to figure out the rules, and there's so many times you have to roll dice and to figure out what other Russia and China are doing, and that I lose all semblance of so what's going on and what's sort of the story of my presidency because there's just so much to do and follow step by step. I don't know. I know some people have gotten really into it, and that's great for them. I would like to be one of those people. I don't know. Jester, have you played Mr. President? Have you had that experience?
I did a tutorial with Mike and one of my buddies, and
we did it as well.
That I've ever played it myself, but I've been helped. I was part of a group that was playing it. Yes, and it was for me. It was a learning part, but the guy out and Mike, they had already played it and they were familiar with it. They had a narrative going, and they had. Oh no, not the Iranian again. Oh my God. What are we going to do? And I was like, for me, it didn't make any sense because I was just learning the game. I didn't know what they were, it couldn't. And maybe that's why this game didn't give me a narrative. I don't know, because it was my first time playing it.
Yeah. Didn't do it. Good grief! A solitaire game that gives you lots of decisions. Ooh, that's what you want, isn't it?
He said there's not many decisions, though.
Oh, there's not. Sorry, I think you said
not
too
many.
Oh, sorry, I think you said too many decisions. Should have. I have got new glasses, but when I put those on, and I'm not going to put them on because of they've got sort of rounded lenses. I look like that guy from the Trailer Trash Boys. So I'm not putting them on.
So, I agree with your hair gets in the way anyway. So
I agree with Stuka. Mr. President, so far for me is there's too many charts.
Of course, yes.
Like if I have to roll dice for for every action, roll to breathe. Then yeah, but Prime Minister.
Yeah, that's what we said about Plum Island. Yeah, you need to know the rules so you can just concentrate.
I think that does matter because as I'm playing Target for today, right, I could focus not on learning the game. I could focus in on who was rough flying the plane, who was co-pilot, who was bombardier, who was doing this. I could concentrate on that because I wasn't worried about what chart do I look at, what do I do here. So yeah, I think knowing the game also helps get you into the narrative part.
Mm-hmm. So, like an example of, I remember one of the first times. I remember one of the first times when I was playing the Dark Valley, and from Ted Racer from GMT, and it's the deluxe edition of the mountain maps and everything like that, and it fascinated me because it's on a division level for the Eastern Front, and I remember one of the times when I was playing it that I was so surprised with the story that was being created in there with so many 800 counters on the board that I had in Operation Barbarossa by I think it was September. Maybe August, something like that, August or September, I was further than where the Germans were historically, and I was knocking on the door of Moscow, more or less, months in advance of where they were. And that was because the Russian player decided to do, as opposed to real life, where a lot of them pulled back and to create new defensive lines, they decided to just attack and keep attacking me.
That's not cricket, is it? That's not.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out. And when they figured out that they were losing too many men, that to start creating defensive lines, they didn't have enough men to create a line.
See you.
Bye-bye. So the Germans didn't have all the Germans had to do was just go around them and put them out of supply. And I loved the story that was being created in there, in that this was a different Operation Barbarossa. And it was one of my first times playing the Dark Valley. So of course I fell in love with the game. And it's still one of my favorites. But go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was not one step back from the beginning.
But so, I mean, we're talking about the narrative, and a lot of narrative games are solitaire, and a lot of them, as Stuka Joe says, it's the nature of the beast with a solitaire game. There's going to be a lot of charts to check on, most of the time.
And that, if for me personally, that's
which is why I like combat. There isn't that many.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned this earlier, and I know we're running out of time, but quickly, like leveling up or getting medals or making that unit better or stronger. Does that matter at all?
It then tends to be like Dungeons and Dragons, isn't it? Where you're leveling. It does help, but yes. But as long as the game gets harder proportionally with those thingies, with those ramp ups. But that's why I like things like Target for Tonight, because you just got to survive another mission, and that's what gives a great narrative. It's great when you level up, but then if you're doing the same sort of thing, it's got to level up in proportion to the difficulty of the missions or whatever they call them. What do you think, Jester?
Before Nate, Ruff, what about, like, just giving your pilots awards or giving your bombardiers awards for completing missions?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Okay. Because I haven't played I haven't played the World War one, which I want to play, where you're playing a pilot. But in the Hunters, where you can now you're entitled to a promotion, and it's on a die roll, and you don't get it, you're really racked off about that. You think, oh, come on, he did a fantastic. He was brilliant. Look at what he did. I mean, he sunk. You didn't give him a promotion, you rotters. Yeah, that affects me. It's like, So yeah, it is. It just adds
come into play.
To the thing. Yeah.
What about you, Nate? What do you think?
I like that. I like being able to level up and upgrade whatever weapons that you're in, or a tank or whatever. That's it makes you feel like you're making progress and you're moving forward, as opposed to just, it's two maps. Now I assume I don't know. I think for both of you have played GBOH. That I'm sure that creates great narrative. Like the 10th Legion breaks through the barbarian lines and I don't know. I haven't played GBOH, so that's why I'm curious for both of you.
It's been a long time since I played it.
It does give a narrative, because you're playing, and you can play it solo, great, because it's done on, initiative sort of thing. But yeah, it gives a bit of narrative, especially when the elephants come rampaging in and killing your own troops.
Right. Yes. Right.
Well, gentlemen, this is we got 2 minutes before 2 hours.
I'm just trying to get through the rest of the,
I will announce right now. Next week, the show will be on my channel, and I'm going to tell you guys what the subject is, so you can start thinking about it now, because this is going to have to do with what's going to happen this week. How have you progressed as a gamer in the last 5 to 10 years? Have you changed your subject? Have you changed your desires? Have you found yourself wanting to play different games? How have you evolved in the last 5 years as a gamer? I know Ruff has evolved, because we've talked about this a couple years ago on
those bookshelves have evolved.
So that's going to be the next week. Next week's show is going to be, how have you evolved as a gamer in the last 5 to 10 years? I find myself, to be honest, I find myself wanting to play easier games and more games, as opposed to like getting one big long monster game with thousands of miniatures and all that. I just don't enjoy those games as much. I used to love those games, but I just don't play them as much. So that'll be the subject next week.
That's interesting. Cool. Yeah. So I tell you what, I'm amazed at the and I think I caught up eventually. It's just crazy when it goes bonkers. It went bonkers.
Awesome. I love it.
So there's a lot of comments today for sure. A lot of comments.
So all I can say is, everybody, thanks you two for putting up with me with my bad chat working out and using that. Thanks to the chat, and as we always say, we love you. And there's nothing you can do about it. Thank you all so much. 60 odd people watching us is crazy. Right. Get a life. No.
Oh,
no. We love it. We love it.
Tell a friend.
We love your patronism.
Tell a friend. Have them come. We're giving away free stuff next week. Ruff's giving away. He's got all kinds of games from his con.
Right. Jester's giving away Nocturus.
Oh, okay. I'll sort that out. No, yeah, okay. No, I don't think so. Don't. They'll believe you. Don't. They'll turn up. Anyway, thanks everyone for joining us, and a great chat tonight, and great stuff from.
Thank you, everyone. It's been big.
And if it wasn't for you guys in the chat, we wouldn't have a show, really. Right. So thank you, and. We'll see you next week on Jester's channel. Mwah! Till then, bye. Bye-bye.
Have a good night, everybody.